How was Comic Con Stockholm 2019? I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you all about what you missed if you didn't go there. But first, click the subscribe button so you don't miss future videos coming out on this channel. Oh, and give me a thumbs up while you're at it. So what happened at Comic Con Stockholm this year? I don't even know where to start. There were so many people and so much to see. First of all, there was tons of cosplay, and I mean a metric ton of people dressed up as everything you can possibly imagine. Let me mention a few special ones. I thought Scorpion was really cool, and I have no idea what this giant of a man was cosplaying as, but I like it. And who says Aquaman isn't popular? He definitely gets all the girls. Just look at his smug face. A couple of Wolverines showed up side by side, and this girl won second place as Doctor Strange in a performance competition. And I just love this laid-back Thor guy. C for effort, but keep it up, man. Oh, and I have to show you this Mega Man with an accompanying Christmas tree. What the heck? Anyway, there was a lot more cosplay to see, but I'll have to go into more details about that in another video. But let's have a look at what else you could see at Comic Con this year. The Artist Alley was filled with new and established artists showing off their works. Personally, I just love the Rick and Morty rendition of Edvard Munch's The Scream. Quite fitting, right? There was also a Batman exhibit, but that was pretty crap. Except for having a look at the Bat Cycle and a nipple-free Batman costume. We don't want no stinking bat nips. And if you're into cute stuff like yours truly, you could find tons of My Little Pony plushies, cute unstable unicorn t-shirts and card games, and some really cool fox ears. There were even more t-shirts from T-Turtle in a big booth. And finally, let me just show you this grumpy hooded cat. So adorable. There were of course more merchandise than that. All kinds of toys and t-shirts and pins and watches and dolls and figurines and electronic gadgets and comics and plush dildos, I guess. One of the best merchants at the place was this one filled with steampunk and goth things. I was so tempted to buy a top hat, and a pair of goggles, and a bracelet or 5. I loved it. I also really liked this place that sold masks and leather covers and all kinds of neat things. And it was a really good idea to place a mask high up like this. It made the booth easy to find, and it gave me something nice to film. Now check out this sea of swords and canes and all kinds of harmful implements. I just love stuff like this. I'm not saying that I have a sword fetish, but just look at that gorgeous Sting. I want it. I crave it. The other swords and daggers are fine too, but Sting would look so good on my wall. And it would warn me of an orc attack too. Glamdring would be awesome to have as well. And Conan's sword too. Gah, there are too many cool swords at this place. But wait, did Orcrist really have a yellow hilt? Maybe I should just go for a tiny little dagger instead? Nah, next time I'll get Sting or Glamdring. But all isn't good and well with the merchandise. There's an invasion of loot boxes as well. I hate this despicable business practice. It tempts people to buy useless crap in the hopes of getting awesome stuff. And yeah, I have fallen into that trap too. Twice. No more. Anyway, check out these large collectibles. There were tons of superhero and movie character figurines selling for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. They do look awesome, but I can't see myself ever coughing up that kind of cash for them. Something that was a bit more appealing were these recycled metal sculptures. There's something compelling about reusing scrap metal and making these weird and wonderful designs from them. I could see myself having a giant alien at home, maybe in the bathroom to freak out guests. Marvel also had some big figures on display, and those are always cool. Who doesn't want to see a giant Hulk after all, with his giant Hulk junk? Other than that, the Marvel area was surprisingly boring. They were pushing the new Iron Man VR game, but there wasn't much else to see or do. They basically just had a huge area of disappointment. They are relying too much on their movies and reputation by now, and not putting in the effort. Game of Thrones is finished by now, but I found that HBO did a better job at showing off cool stuff compared to Marvel. I loved the dragon, and Heisenberg seemed to like sitting on the Iron Throne. And this is what I get for letting my nephew film me as I have a go at the Iron Throne myself. Stop zooming in! No one wants to see my tired face, least of all me. Oh, and what's this? Someone stretching by the HBO stand? But why? Ah, I see why. Well, I can definitely say that HBO did a better job at drawing a crowd than Marvel did. Who doesn't want to see Daenerys doing aerial acrobatics after all? I guess I'll linger a bit on this clip. Maybe I can talk really slowly until I move on to the next bit. Anyway, we have more things to see, so I'll move from Game of Thrones to the Swedish National Guard, who, for some reason, had a stand at Comic Con this year. No thanks, I do not miss my days in the army. Let's talk about games instead. There were physical games where you could win prizes, as well as more traditional games. Just Dance was a crowd pleaser throughout the whole show. I never tried it though. There were also indie games on display. Before this show turned into Comic Con, it used to be called GameX, and there was a bigger focus on games back then, as you can imagine. Well, these smaller games were nice to see, but there was just too much else competing for my attention now. Such as these retro games surrounded by kids younger than the consoles they are playing on. I thoroughly approve of that. I used to have stuff like this. I had an original Game Boy and an old Donkey Kong Game & Watch as well. I gave this shooter a go, but I got a game over in the second stage. I'm not showing you that. I couldn't live with a terrible shame. VR is still getting hotter and hotter. Smaller developers are trying to find interesting ways to use the new medium and hop on the bandwagon. Bigger developers are already driving the wagon though. But regardless of how big VR becomes, there's one thing that's certain. You will always look a bit like a moron while wearing these huge and cumbersome headsets. Something that should have looked silly as well is the Jedi Training area, where kids got to learn how to fight with a lightsaber. Or well, maybe not fight exactly, but at least make some poses and have fun while doing it. I should say that it looks silly, but I actually love seeing these new Jedis in training. Raise a hand if you like Lego. What's that? Everyone raised a hand? Of course you did. Everyone loves Lego. The name is actually short for Leg Godt, which is Danish for play well. You can build everything with Lego. Large figures and towers and everything you can imagine. I sound like a paid commercial, but I just love these little blocks. What? Just black and yellow pieces? Screw this. Another disappointment was the lines for the photo ops with Tom Felton and Matthew Mercer. Way too long lines, and $60 to take a pic with a celebrity? Screw that, I'm not geeking out that much. One of the main draws of the convention was of course the stage program. They had a pretty good lineup of Q&As and talks and cosplay competitions every day. Something I appreciated was the helpful people showing the start and end of each line. Swedes love their orderly cues, it's part of the Swedish nature and don't you dare skip ahead. Finally, take a look at this. These are the droids I'm looking for. BB-8 is just so awesome. R2-D2 is a classic as well though. He even took a tour of the conference floor. I know that there's someone behind it with a remote control, but it looks so real. I love it. All in all, Comic Con Stockholm 2019 was great fun. There was so much to see and do in a wide range of geeky activities. There's always room for improvement, but the convention was much better this year compared to the last couple of years. I do have to mention that the crowds were a bit insane during the day on Saturday. Friday and Saturday evening were better, so plan ahead and think about what day and what times you want to visit. Well, that's all for now. Have a great day.